You failed. Again, you didn't finish the book. You skipped the workout. You said tomorrow, and tomorrow came and went like every other excuse you've rehearsed in that comfortable little mind of yours. You failed, and then, the worst part, you told yourself a story about why it was okay. That story is killing you. Right now, before this video goes another second, I need you to hear something that nobody in your life has the guts to say to you. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a volunteer. Every day you wake up and you choose mediocre. You choose soft. You choose the path of least resistance, and you dress it up with words like balance and self-care, and I'll start Monday. There's something inside you. David Goggins calls it the governor. It's the internal mechanism that tells you to stop when you've only given 40 AE. It tells you you're tired when you've barely started. It tells you you've done enough when you haven't even scratched the surface of what you're capable of. And you listen to it every single time. Today that ends, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Right now, let me paint you a picture, not the Instagram version, not the highlight reel with the pump up music and the slow motion shots of someone crossing the finish line. I'm going to tell you what it actually looks like to build something real out of the wreckage of failure. It's 4 a.m. It's dark. It's cold. Your alarm goes off and your body, your soft, conditioned, comfort-addicted body, tells you everything it needs to tell you to stay in that bed. Your muscles ache. Your mind is already negotiating. 5 more minutes. I worked hard yesterday. My body needs rest. That voice is not wisdom. That voice is weakness wearing a lab coat. The truth about hard work is that it is not glamorous. It is not a montage. It is ugly, repetitive, and deeply uncomfortable. It is doing the same thing again and again with no guarantee of reward. It is failing publicly, falling short repeatedly, and waking up the next day to do it again. Not because it feels good, but because you decided something matters more than your comfort. Goggins didn't become the man who ran 205 miles in 39 hours by feeling motivated every morning. He became that man by showing up when motivation was nowhere in sight. He was a 297-pound pest control worker who had failed the SEAL test twice. He was drowning in self-pity and excuses. And then one day, one brutal, uncomfortable, unromantic day, he decided to stop being the victim of his own story. The work that followed wasn't pretty. He ran until his feet bled and blistered through his shoes. He trained through stress fractures. He pushed through a heart defect doctors told him would end him. He didn't do it because it felt good. He did it because the alternative, living small, felt worse than the pain. Discipline is not something you feel. It is something you execute despite how you feel. Most of you are sitting there right now comfortable. Maybe you're on a couch. Maybe you're scrolling after a day where you didn't do what you said you were going to do. You've been failing for weeks, maybe months, maybe years, and you've developed an expertise in explaining why. You've built an entire architecture of justification around your mediocrity. I'm not here to make you feel better about that. I'm here to make you uncomfortable enough to change it. Because here's the savage reality. Your failures are not obstacles. They are raw material. Every time you fell short, every rejection, every missed deadline, every embarrassing moment, that is fuel, but only if you choose to use it. Most people let failure calcify into identity. They become, I'm just not the type of person who, they make failure a noun instead of a verb. They let it describe who they are instead of informing what they need to do differently. You are not your failures, but you are definitely responsible for them. Now I'm going to tell you how to actually change. Not the soft way, not the journaling and gratitude version. The real way, the way that leaves marks on you. The first tool is the accountability mirror. When Goggins was at rock bottom, broke, overweight, directionless, he stood in front of his bathroom mirror and did something most people will never do. He told himself the truth, no filters, no excuses. He called himself out loud, for every lie he'd been living. He put Post-it notes on that mirror, every goal he was running from, every truth he was avoiding. He made himself confront the gap between who he was and who he claimed to want to be. Try it. Stand in front of a mirror tonight and say out loud the things you have been avoiding, the conversations you are scared to have, the goals you've abandoned, the person you've been pretending not to be. Say it, because you cannot outrun what you refuse to face. The accountability mirror doesn't flatter you. It confronts you. And that confrontation is the beginning of everything. The second tool is the cookie jar. On into a 135-mile ultramarathon with broken feet and no crew, ready to quit, he reached into his mind and pulled out proof. Every time he had suffered before and survived. Every time he said, I can't, and did it anyway. Every time the world counted him out and he counted himself back in. He stored those victories, those callous building moments like cookies in a jar. And when things got impossibly hard, he reached in and remembered, I have done hard things before. I will do this. What's in your cookie jar? Because if you've been alive on this planet for any length of time, you have survived things that should have broken you. You have gotten back up. You have figured things out when you had no idea how you were going to. The problem is you don't count those moments. You dismiss them. You rush past the proof of your own resilience to get to the next complaint, start cataloging your hard moments, not to relive the pain, to weaponize the evidence that you are more savage than you give yourself credit for. The third tool, and this one will change everything if you let it, is taking souls. Taking souls isn't about ego. It's not about dominance over other people. It's a mindset that says, when the situation is trying to break me, I will outwork it. When the pain is trying to make me quit, I will use that pain as proof that I'm still in the fight. When the race, the project, the relationship, the job is telling me I don't belong here, I will perform at a level that silences every doubt. You take a soul every time you do the thing that was supposed to beat you, and you do it better than anyone expected. You were written off. You were underestimated. You were told you wouldn't make it. Taking souls means finishing anyway, and finishing so completely that even the people who doubted you have nothing left to say. Now, callousing the mind. This is the long game. A callus forms because of repeated friction against the surface. Your hands don't get callous from thinking about hard work. They get callous from the work itself, day after day, until what used to tear the skin open no longer even registers. The mind works the same way. You callous the mind by doing uncomfortable things on purpose, repeatedly, without reward or recognition. You wake up early when you don't have to. You do the extra rep when your body says stop. You have the hard conversation when avoidance would be easier. You do the thing you're afraid of before your fear has time to convince you otherwise. This is not done once. This is not a challenge you complete in 75 days and put a sticker on. This is a permanent orientation toward discomfort. This is choosing every single day to stay hard. Comfortable people do not grow. They marinate in the same version of themselves until they die. Don't let that be you. Now let me speak directly to your failures for a moment, because here's what I know about you. You've tried before. You've started something, maybe multiple somethings, and somewhere along the way you hit the wall, the real wall, the one that isn't a motivational metaphor, but actual grinding resistance, and you stopped. And you've been carrying that around. Let it go, not because it doesn't matter, but because you're going to use it. Every failure is a data point. Every breakdown is a diagnostic. When Goggins failed the BUDS program, he didn't let it define him as someone who couldn't make it. He studied exactly what broke him. And he went and forged himself into someone who those things couldn't break. He used his failure as a blueprint for who he needed to become. What did your failure expose? What broke first? Your body, your discipline, your environment, your belief. That's your starting point. That's not the evidence that you can't do it. That is the precise roadmap for how to get there. I want to talk about something nobody talks about, the real cost of comfort. Everyone talks about the cost of hard work, the early mornings, the sacrifices, the pain, but nobody tells you what it costs to stay soft, to never push, to never find the edge of what you're capable of and step past it. It costs you your self-respect, slowly, invisibly. Every time you quit on yourself, there's a ledger somewhere that knows. Every time you make a promise to yourself and break it, you get smaller in your own eyes. You might not feel it acutely, but it accumulates. And one day you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person looking back. Not because something catastrophic happened, but because 1,000 small surrenders added up to a life you didn't choose. The victim mentality is a prison you build with your own hands and then complain about living in. Nobody is coming to save you. That's not pessimism. That's the most liberating truth you will ever hear. Because the moment you stop waiting for rescue is the moment you realize you are always the rescuer. You are always the variable. The job, the relationship, the city, the circumstances, those are the backdrop. You are the protagonist. And protagonists don't wait. They move. Let me be direct with you. Some of you watching this have been using your past as a permission slip to not try. You had a rough childhood. You grew up without resources. Someone failed you. Someone hurt you. Those things are real and they matter. And I am not minimizing them for 1 second. But here's what I know. Goggins grew up with an abusive father who controlled the family through terror. He stuttered. He struggled in school. He was told by the world in 100 different ways that he was not going to amount to anything. He didn't use that as an excuse. He used it as rocket fuel. You don't have to be grateful for your trauma, but you do have to decide what you're going to do with it. You can carry it like a weight that pins you to the ground, or you can convert it through discipline, through action, through refusal to quit into the thing that makes you unlike anyone else. Your pain is not the problem. Your relationship to your pain is the problem. You've been watching this video for 15 minutes. You've heard everything I've said. And right now, your brain is doing what it always does. It's preparing to move on. It's already thinking about the next video. It's going to let this moment pass like every other moment that almost changed something. Not today. I'm not asking you to like this video. I'm not asking you to subscribe. I am telling you to close this screen and go do something hard in the next 10 minutes. Right now. Not after dinner, not after one more scroll. Go for a run you don't feel like taking. Make the phone call you've been avoiding for 3 weeks. Write the first line of the thing you keep saying you're going to write. Go confess to someone that you've been letting yourself down and that it ends today. Do the push-ups. Clean out the drawer you've been ignoring for 6 months. Whatever the thing is that your comfortable brain has been steering you away from, go do that thing. Because that small act, that one uncomfortable, uncelebrated, unseen act is the beginning of the callus. That's how it starts. Not with a transformation, not with a revelation, with a choice made in private to be different than you were 5 minutes ago. Goggins says we are all capable of far more than we think. He doesn't say this because he has some mystical genetic advantage. He says it because he tested himself to the absolute limit and found on the other side of what he thought would break him that he was still standing, that the man he feared he wasn't was actually there the whole time waiting to be called out. That man or that woman is in you too. Not the polished version, not the one with the perfect plan and the right conditions. The savage, calloused, unbreakable version that only shows up when you stop making it comfortable for the soft version to run the show. Use your failures as fuel. Stay hard. Go.